Hi, my name is Alice Simoneau. I lead global scaled operations for the AWS Digital Innovation Program. Thank you so much for joining our session today on Innovating with Amazon. Today's session is going to go over a series of different areas of focus. The first is, of course, the introduction to the AWS Digital Innovation Program, which helps business leaders bring ideas to market faster using working backwards. Amazon's peculiar customer-centric approach to innovation has helped thousands of organizations use that approach to develop new products and services. And this session explores how the program works, as well as provides real-life examples of new products and services developed by AWS. And as you probably have seen in our annual reports, for us, innovation begins with our customers. We begin with our customers, and then we work backwards towards the solution. And so we use the working backwards approach to craft what we call a PRFAQ. These are the artifacts of that process, and these are documents. Now, I've been at a number of different divisions across the organization, and irrespective of working at AWS, Amazon Fresh, or Amazon Hardlines, we use this approach consistently across our organization to build and refine new ideas, new services, new products for our customers. And we want to make sure that the intent of everything that we do and the reason we use this process to document it is to ensure that the customer benefit is clear and explicit. Now, the PRFAQ process is comprised of three different areas. The first is the press release. This is a forward-leaping document into the future. It envisions a world in which the product or service exists. It contains customer quotes, a headline. This is a soup to nuts document and summary that if it was ready and prepared, you can bring this to the New York Times and hit publish. Now, the FAQ becomes what we call a more traditional business use case. The FAQ is comprised of internal stakeholder questions and customer stakeholder questions. So, for example, from a customer perspective, questions that you might want to answer are, well, how much does this cost? Where do I find it? And what is my recourse if I don't like it? And for internal stakeholders, this would be the traditional business use case on what is that minimal lovable product we're going to deploy with first? What does the rest of the roadmap look like? Do we have resources, funding, budget to be able to support the rest of this? And lastly, we have visuals. The visuals are a representation that reflect the sophistication of the idea being presented in the PRFAQ. So when the idea is rough, well, so are the visuals. And as the idea matures and develops, well, so do the visuals. And they ultimately look something like what you see here on the screen. Now, I do want to be clear. This is not a business document. What we're doing here with the working backwards PRFAQ approach is to make sure that we're writing for our customers. We involve marketing, design. We review, we reiterate on these documents with across various stakeholders in the organization to make sure that we are creating a very clear and coherent customer experience. So as I alluded to in the previous slide, this document and this process with working backwards is designed to ensure that we read, we discuss, and debate questions, and that ultimately we're creating a very customer-centric product or a solution as described by the PRFAQ. This is meant to be a conversation starter, and certainly that first draft is not the right draft. It's not even close to perfect. But it does give our teams a point of starting. With every iteration of review of discussion, we continue to refine the ideas in the PRFAQ and continue to circulate them for global or local adoption. And the one thing that we do use this further for is to make sure that our thoughts are clear about the value that we're trying to drive on behalf of our customers. Is this idea the right idea? Should we be thinking bigger? Is it the right solution? We use iteration to make sure that we're clear and focused and to ensure that the ideas that we're building are the right ones on behalf of our customers. Now, the AWS Digital Innovation Program has a number of different elements to the organization, but the idea really holistically is to make sure that we help business leaders bring better ideas to market faster. And we do this by introducing our customers to Amazon's peculiar customer-centric approach to innovation. We then help to refine some of those new ideas and then accelerate that journey by helping to deploy it onto the market. Now, since 2017, our program has engaged thousands of organizations across the globe, and we have several different offerings in our portfolio. Outside of the working backwards engagement, which we'll spend the bulk of our time discussing today, we have the culture of innovation alongside learning from Amazon. And I'll touch on all of those a little bit later in today's presentation. Now, focusing in on the working backwards engagement. As I mentioned, we use this process to shape new products and services. And so we use this approach to ultimately explore a new product or service through the lens of a customer. And we'll work with you hand in hand to define that and develop it. Now, from our customer's perspective, we do ask that for those who would like to participate and are eligible to do so, that they meet 3 requirements. The first is executive business sponsorship. We request that all of our sponsors are C-level business leaders who are non-technical. That being said, we have a number of use cases where we have technical and non-technical stakeholders sponsoring these engagements. So a CIO or a CTO alongside their CMO or CDO or CO counterpart. We also ask that you come with a customer-focused problem or opportunity. We will use our best judgment and guidance to help refine that idea, and if necessary, bring the voice of the customer into the room, but we ask that there be a starting point to this process, and that's one that you have to bring to the table. And the last is the willingness to invest in this engagement. While there are no costs associated with beginning this journey, it is multi-month, and we ask in your investment in time and resources to continue through this process from the beginning to the end. Now, from the AWS standpoint, we will provide resources that are dedicated across the globe to work with your organization hand in hand from the beginning to the end to go through this experience. And as the idea that's being developed and shaped through the Working Backwards PRFAQ is developed, we'll make sure to have the right build team in place, whether it's a ProServe team or a partner of your choice or other resources to help navigate that product launch into the market. But before we kick off on all of this, I encourage you to hear what customers actually have to share about their experiences with the AWS Digital Innovation Program.
The biggest takeaway from the entire program is the idea that anything is possible.
Amazon is a groundbreaking innovator and has been for 25 years across different geographies, across many lines of business, sometimes inventing entirely new categories. We have an intentional way of doing this.
The whole idea around this program is to take customers on a journey so they can experience how we create innovative products that customers love.
Often we talk about innovation and we're not really sure what it means. One of the first things that the Amazon team said to us was, we start from the position of the customer and we work backwards. So imagine what the final press release of your new product is going to look like.
We really pulled apart who was the customer, delved deep into the problem. I think it's challenged us. I think it's made us ask questions that sometimes don't always get asked and made us start at the right point.
We're having a really great workshop with Britvic today. What initially they thought a solution might look like has completely changed to something different, but is something much more customer focused, delivers clear customer benefits, and is actually something they can get to work on building quickly.
We've really got to the heart of what our customers' problem is. And I think we've been ignoring it to a certain extent because we felt we didn't have the right to play in that area. And what Amazon's done is enable us to look at the bigger picture.
At Changi Airport, passengers are our top priority. We want to make traveling delightful for them, magical. The problems, I think, we were not surprised by, but the solutions were. I think this is typical of many teams. We will go into a problem thinking that we already had a known answer. Thanks to this act of customer discovery, we saved a lot of time and effort building something that nobody else would have wanted. In this program, we have emphasized the use of innovation methods to solve regular business problems and make just every little bit that much better for our customers.
For account teams, this is an opportunity to have a very high level and strategic conversation, often with new decision makers in a business. This allows us to open that conversation and then demonstrate the power of Amazon's approach to innovation and the breadth and depth of the AWS platform in bringing those innovations to life.
Where I probably would have spent 5 years persuading the team internally that we needed to create an entirely new data structure to aid investigative work was done in under a year. And the fun part for us is it's not over. We're still executing it. The accountability sits with the Globe and Mail. We then have to execute and get it out into the market, and there's no way we could have done that without Amazon.
Now, Jeff Bezos was once asked this question at an all-hands meeting in Seattle, and the question was the following. The working backwards process seems really nice, but it sure sounds like a lot of work. And to that response, Jeff answered the following. The working backwards process is not designed to be easy, but it is designed to save huge amounts of work on the back end and to make sure that everything that we are building is the right thing for our customers. And so with that premise in mind, we hope to have this opportunity to experience that with you. Now, to give you a bit of a sneak peek on the working backwards engagement, I wanted to walk through what that process actually looks like. Now, when we talk about the working backwards approach, the idea is to make sure that we're thinking big, that we're thinking beyond today, because thinking small is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Leaders across all of Amazon are believed to create and to communicate bold directions that inspire results. They're looking around corners, looking to be different, looking for new opportunities to serve their customers. Now, when we talk about our engagement model, there's 5 different phases, and the ones inscribed in orange here on the slide are the primary areas of focus for our program. In the identify phase, which is really outside the purview here, this is where account teams approach our program to let us know that they have a customer who's interested in participating. Assuming they meet the qualifications we discussed previously, we move into what we call the engage phase. And I will venture to say that it is the most important phase in the entire engagement as it sets the stage for success. In the engage phase, we discuss the various possibilities. We discuss the customer challenges or opportunities that you have brought to the table, and we entertain challenges without holding any judgment on what is a good idea or a bad idea. We revel in the possibilities to drive the right outcome and out of the box thinking. So once we frame this challenge, we proceed forward into the define phase. In the define phase, this is where we spend really the bulk of our time together to use what we call a working backwards workshop. We spend a large portion of that time to uncover that problem, to really walk the walk in the eyes of a customer for whom we're defining the solution for. And we ultimately work backwards, and we use the working backwards approach and the PRFAQ process to document a solution to address that very specific customer challenge or need. And lastly, we will move into the build phase. Now, as we think about build, or we think about creation here or prototyping, at Amazon, the term prototype or build refers to the PRFAQ. And so we will work hand in hand with your organization or a selected member of your team to refine that PRFAQ idea. Here at Amazon, we call it a prototype because we do not hire a team or fund resources or put hands to keyboard unless that PRFAQ is vetted and done, fully end-to-end. Now, in some cases, you may want a prototype for a solution, or there's other more technical challenges to the solution we landed on, and there's other resources to help navigate that process. And lastly, we conclude on what we call a final executive review. And this is the point where we have a conversation between our organization and the executive sponsor to make sure that the idea and the solution where we finally landed is the right one. And it shouldn't be a surprise. If we did our homework properly early on in the engage phase, and we have that alignment and collaboration with the organization, this shouldn't be any challenges to preventing us from moving forward. And as I mentioned, by the time we reach this phase, We will hopefully line up the right resources to make sure that product deploys in the market successfully. So whether it be a partner or professional services or another resource of your choice, we want to make sure all of those blueprints and roadmaps are set up to help deployment. So here are a series of different customers where we together worked on working backwards. You can see these customers are from across the globe. They represent various industries from financial services to media to transportation to travel and hospitality. And we continue to run these working backwards engagements to help refine a very customer-centric approach to innovation with thousands of organizations across the globe. Now, to help illustrate some of those customer stories, we're going to use the next section here to highlight a couple different case studies. Those case studies are also from across the globe and will be delivered by our business development leaders who supported those engagements. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Melia Hotels International.
Hello, I'm Giulia Rossi and I had the pleasure of working with Melia Hotel International. Melia is one of Spain's largest domestic operators of holiday resorts and is the 17th biggest hotel chain worldwide. Domestically, the company is the market leader in both resorts and urban hotels. And currently, the hotel chain operates in 374 hotels in 40 countries on 4 continents. Melia and the AWS Digital Innovation team collaborated to experiment and reimagine the customer check-in experience in their hotel. So by applying a customer-obsessed approach, the Amazon working backwards, Melia created a new, faster, sophisticated check-in system for their hotels. Before, customers that were entering Melia Hotel could face long wait time for check-in, alongside a non-personalized approach to various types of guests and their needs. Therefore, Melia thought of applying the working backwards with the AWS Digital Innovation team to reimagine this experience. And imagine that as Melia was embarking upon this journey, the impact of the COVID made it even more business critical to find solutions that minimize the social contact between guests and employees. There was definitely an urgency in creating a more secure and seamless experience for the guest. Therefore, applying the Amazon working backwards, Melia redesigned the visitor check-in experience, where previously customers had to wait in line upon entering their hotel. The newly established Face-to-Go solution enables visitors to begin their check-in from the comfort of their home. The new, more efficient system in development is contactless. Combines the use of the Melia mobile app with facial recognition software, ID document scanning, terminal in hotels that actually recognize the customer. So imagine that this zero contact system enables customers to go directly to their rooms upon entering the hotel, as well as if guests want or prefer physical keys, they can utilize the totems to check in using the facial recognition system. So with the ongoing pandemic, the need to minimize the social contact between guests and employees became more and more critical. So for Melia, the launch of the Face-to-Go enabled their hotel to become more secure. And therefore, Melia received the approval from the system that is the Bureau La Veritas, and it's a certification that allowed Melia to reopen in Europe their hotel very quickly after the first COVID lockdown ended. And it definitely strengthened the brand resiliency by being able to accommodate customer needs quickly. For customer, this means a reimagined experience for the check-in, providing an healthy environment to meet their travel needs, as well as the creation of a more personalized travel experience in a fast and secure way. More than that, as Christian Palomino, the Vice President, Global Vice President of IT states, this definitely meant a collaboration between Melia and AWS that was more than a technology partnership. It was definitely a more strategic partnership to actually shape the experience for their customer in their hotels.
Hi, my name is Ellen Cowan, and I'm a digital innovation leader here at AWS. I'm here to share a story regarding our collaboration with Ferring Pharmaceuticals. With the mission of helping people build families, Ferring Pharmaceuticals launched Fertility House Calls, a new service that provides a simple, convenient way to explore fertility treatment. Ferring Pharmaceuticals is a research-driven biopharmaceutical company devoted to identifying, developing, and marketing innovative products in the fields of reproductive medicine and maternal health, gastroenterology, and orthopedics. Ferring is a world leader in reproductive medicine and has been developing treatments for mothers and babies for decades with the philosophy of people come first. Following a preliminary meeting, Ferring engaged AWS Digital Innovation to help improve the customer journey with regard to infertility treatment. Ferring originally sought to address the cost of services to make it easy for women to access treatment. Applying the digital innovation mechanism of working backwards and applying market research, we then re-evaluated the challenge with our customer needs, feelings, and context in mind. How do we know what the customer really wants? This resulted in a series of customer empathy efforts and ultimately clarified a different challenge. It turned out that, in addition to cost, there was an emotional obstacle to overcome for patients. Acknowledgement of the emotional consideration led to the concept of an in-home fertility consultation, an easier first step. In collaboration with Slalom and AWS and the Colorado Center for Reproductive Medicine, Ferring built and launched a pilot program called Fertility House Calls in the Denver area in January 2020. The goal was to provide a high level of personalized attention in order to make it easier to have a conversation that could lead to better informed decisions with positive impact. The working backwards mechanism allowed for the alignment of multiple internal stakeholders on a patient-centric approach to address the challenge at hand. It led to an evolved understanding of patient empathy and outlined a new engagement approach. According to Joy Lewin, Director of Commercial Development at Ferring, the lightning rod moment was in the realization that the biggest obstacle was fear of taking the first step. The short initial pilot validated the need for a more personalized approach. Due to COVID-19, we then pivoted to a virtual consult model. The platform is now being leveraged in 8 markets to offer one-click requests for virtual consultation.
I'm Gabe Wahovsky, the Digital Innovation Lead for the Central U.S. region. I've had the pleasure of collaborating with State Auto on a recent engagement focused on reimagining customer experience and wanted to share some details with you. Founded in 1921, State Automobile, a mutual insurance company, was launched to create a new kind of insurance experience, one that is focused on offering reasonable rates with prompt and fair claim service. The company has grown a lot since then, and today, State Auto Insurance has assets of $4.6 billion and writes $2 billion in premium across 33 states. And through all of that growth, the company continues to rely on independent agents to market their products. As part of their continued commitment to modernize and digitally transform the company's technical infrastructure, State Auto's Chief Information and Strategy Officer engaged with the AWS Digital Innovation Program to identify new and innovative ways to elevate customer experience. State Auto's focus was on helping customer service representatives at independent insurance agencies better serve the needs of their customers. To achieve that goal, business leadership was looking to define and develop a scalable, data-driven solution that could transform their customer service experience. State Auto partnered with the AWS Digital Innovation Program to develop a new platform that consolidated multiple data sources to produce a single 360-degree view of the State Auto policyholder, empowering customer service reps to address customer inquiries more efficiently and effectively. The working backwards methodology identified a simplified user experience that streamlined data discoverability and leveraged predictive analytics to allow customer service reps to anticipate and quickly resolve customer service challenges. For independent insurance agencies, this new product enables customer service reps to spend less time fielding calls and instead allowing them to spend more time growing their business. And for State Auto, improving the self-service capabilities of their independent insurance agency customers led to a scaled reduction of inbound customer inquiries, which over time is going to be saving millions in annual operating expenditures. At the conclusion of the Working Backwards engagement, Greg Ticchetti, the Chief Information and Strategy Officer, noted, "I came into the Digital Innovation Working Backwards engagement with high expectations given the investment of time that was required of me and my team. This process exceeded expectations on all fronts. I hope you found this overview helpful. Thank you."
So if you'd like to learn more, and we'd like you to learn more about our innovation process, we ask that you join us for a discussion on innovation. As I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, in our portfolio of digital innovation offerings, we have other, we'll say, talk tracks on innovation that I think might be helpful and interesting. The first, of course, is the culture of innovation. This is where we discuss our mechanisms, our structure, our organization, our culture, all of those elements that make Amazon, Amazon. And if you're interested in joining in this conversation with us, we encourage you to contact your AWS account team to schedule this discussion, likely held in an EBC format. However, we do have other offerings across our portfolio of innovation talk tracks, and some of those are really focused on going deeper, learning about various parts of Amazon.com, such as the Amazon Go store, or how we use our fulfillment network, or how we use customer connections to drive feedback and innovation, or how Amazon, as a customer and the first customer of AWS, used AWS. So all of these topics and many more continue to be developed by our organization, and we'd love to join in a conversation with you and your teams on those. And again, if you'd like to participate, we ask that you contact your AWS team, account team, to begin that process. Now, we'd like to also let you know that there's a deeper view into innovation discussions being held here at reInvent. If you'd like to join in other conversations with our team, here's a view of select topics that are being presented by our group. And we ask that if you'd like to explore some of these discussions with our team further, including Amazon's culture of innovation, that you contact your AWS account team to begin that process. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and we hope to have the opportunity to engage with you sometime in the near future.